and letting that person know that number one, I'm aware of where I failed. Number two, here's what I'm committed to doing for next time. Recovery, most important part of being a man of integrity, because there's no way we're going to get it all right. I know it's hard out there to be a man of your word, to be a man of integrity, to do the best that you can, to be the man that you always knew you could be. And so today I'm going to talk about my 3-step process for becoming a man of integrity, because it's not easy. Let's face it, there's temptations left and right for us to fail on our commitments, to give our word and not follow up with it. There's every reason in the world for us to not honor what we said we would do. And so I find that the best solutions are always just keeping it simple. So the 3 steps to becoming a man of integrity starts with preparation. Preparation is the best medicine. Just like in healthcare, prevention is the best medicine. So what is preparation? What does preparation look like? Let's give an example. Let's say we're talking about being in relationship with your partner. And you know that when you've been away, let's say you've been on a trip for a week, you know that when you come back, your partner's going to want some time and attention from you. You know that your partner's going to want to drop in and talk about all the things you experienced on your trip, everything that came up while you were away. And so preparing for being a man of integrity, to show up and to serve your partner and to be there, to make them feel safe, to make them feel listened, heard, important. The best way to prepare for that is to put some time aside when you get back. Set up a special surprise date to take your partner out and to make all the room in the world for them to just unload and tell you everything that they wanted to share. And then to also share about your experience so that they feel more connected and dialed into you. That's preparation. And in life, we can prepare for all of the things that are coming towards us only to a degree. So doing the training in advance. Let's say you're prone to anxiety and stress. Having a morning ritual of meditation, prayer, breathing exercises, just physical exercise, something that's going to help reduce your stress, is a way to prepare for the inevitable adversities you're going to face. Doing your taxes way in advance, taking preventative, proactive action in advance of the breakdown is what preparation is all about. So if you have a list of commitments, if you have a list of areas in your life that you need to show up for, preparing for them in advance, scheduling time, being diligent about how you set yourself up for success is a way to prepare. And this is always going to be the best way, because if you can prepare for what you can anticipate coming, set yourself up to succeed, chances are greater that you're going to actually be able to follow through and show up as the man that you wanted to be. So that's preparation. Preparation is anything that we can do in advance to prepare us for the adversities and challenges that lie ahead. Now, we can't prepare for everything. Even as much as we can anticipate, we may be coming home to a firestorm after being away from our partner for a week, right? Or anything else that might come up. These are the unexpected things that we can't anticipate showing up on our path. A death of the family, a sudden loss of the job, traffic on your way to an important meeting. There's so many different unknowns that can show up in our lives that we can't prepare for. I might be able to meditate, to pray, to get my anxiety down, but inevitably there's still going to be moments that show up that shoot me right out of my comfort zone. So the second step to becoming a man of integrity is response. The ability to respond in the moment to the unexpected. If you break down the word responsibility, it's the ability to respond, having the ability to respond from a place of consciousness, from a place of intention, from a place of direction and focus. Now, obviously, the counterpart to responding is reacting, which happens to a lot of us. If we're not prepared, or if we get so thrown off of our center that we just go into our emotional body and start reacting, chewing someone's head off, fight, flight, or freeze, all of the sympathetic nervous system responses, that's what's going to happen if we don't hone and sharpen our ability to respond. So what does responding look like? Let's go back to our example. You come home from a week of being away. You set up a wonderful surprise date for your partner. You brought home roses. You cleared your schedule and calendar for the first 2 days so you could just spend time with your partner and really reconnect. But you come home and she drops a bomb on you. My my mom is really sick and I think we're going to lose her. Weren't expecting that. Can't implement the same plan that you had set up for yourself, right? It's certainly not appropriate at that time to take your wife out on a surprise date, or your partner, whoever it is. So what do? Centering yourself. Remembering what your initial purpose, your initial commitment was, to come home and create connection with your partner that you just spent a week away from. So your ability to listening is so important in the response level of being an integral man. What's being asked for? What's needed most in this moment for myself, for my partner, for anyone else around me? And then choosing what is most appropriate to respond to. So in that moment, you might recognize, wow, my partner's really distraught. She's really hurting. She's scared. She's afraid, fearful of losing her mother. What can I do to be of service? Ask, listen. Focus in on what your initial commitment was in the first place. Forget about the date. Forget about all the other surprises, right? And just listen to what's needed in that moment. That's responding. The opposite would be reacting, completely losing your center, getting frustrated that your plan didn't work out. All of those are emotional reactions that are going to take us away from being men of integrity. They're going to throw us down the tunnel of frustration and self-interest, taking care of myself and my own egoic needs first, when really the best response in that moment is showing up and being present for the person that I'm with. So that's responding. This is when you're on your way to a really important meeting and you run into traffic. Instead of getting caught off center, how do you respond? How can you still restore and maintain integrity with the person who's waiting for you? Give them a call. Let them know, hey, it looks like I'm going to be about 10 minutes late. Are you able to stretch your timeline and accommodate me, or do we need to reschedule this meeting? You can't control traffic. The second step is really about accommodating things that we are not able to control. You can't control when you get into traffic, or when you get into a car accident, or when something suddenly comes up and it's a family emergency and you have to renegotiate your meeting with that person. So responding from a place of center, from a place of clarity, from a place of decisiveness and direction. It's not always going to work out. That's why preparation is the best first line of defense. But in that moment where the unexpected occurs, responding is the best that you've got. Now, after our ability to respond, let's say that you go down the emotional funnel and you're completely in your reactive body. You show up entirely wrong for what your partner needed in that moment when she was telling you about her mother being sick. And it creates greater disharmony, greater dysfunction, greater turbulence in the home front. What do? Well, you're never out of the game. That's the important thing to remember, is that on this journey, on this path of being a man of integrity, you're never out of the game as long as you remember the 3 steps. So even if you don't prepare for what's coming, even if you can't respond the way you would like to in the moment, the last step and most critical step for any man who wants to be a man of integrity is recovery. What is your recovery game like? How well do you take ownerships of your missteps? How well do you let people know, hey, that way I responded there, that's not the way I want to show up. I was being reactive. I had a whole plan for what I wanted to do with you when I came home to make you feel connected to and to feel listened and heard and appreciated. And the unexpected news completely threw me off. I'm sorry that I made it about me. What I'm committed to doing from now on and starting right in this moment is to just listen to you and be present. That's recovery. Recovery is getting into a car accident, completely flipping your lid because you're worried about missing this important meeting, and telling this person, hey, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I lost my lid. I'm totally late for a meeting that's really important to me. And calling the person who's waiting saying, listen, I'm so sorry that I didn't give myself enough time. It's the humility to take ownership for our missteps. The biggest mistake that most of us make when trying to be men of honor and integrity when it comes to commitment is imagining that we can actually pitch a perfect game. None of us are perfect. None of us can maintain all of our commitments and everything that we have to do 100% perfectly. It just doesn't happen. The best that we can hope for is to be impeccable, to do the best with what we have in every moment. And impeccability is about, even when you don't get it right, to clean it up, to recover from it, take ownership, to humble yourself and say, I'm sorry. Please forgive me because I wasn't mindful. I was thinking about myself. I didn't plan enough in advance. Taking ownership for that specific part where you failed and letting that person know that number one, I'm aware of where I failed. Number two, here's what I'm committed to doing for next time. Recovery, most important part of being a man of integrity, because there's no way we're going to get it all right. There's no way that we're going to get every single step in the process perfect as we go through this journey of life. So if you can't prepare for coming home to spend time with your partner after being away for a week, right? This is our example here. If you didn't respond well in the moment and you made it all about yourself, then recovery is humbling yourself and saying, hey, you know what? I caught myself in that moment. It's not the way I would have liked to respond. I know I can't take it back right now, but what can I do from this moment forward to make you really feel loved and heard? How can I take care of you? How can I support you right now? That's recovery. Recovery is having the humility to admit that I failed and recommitting to how I want to be. So in this journey of becoming men of integrity, you're never out of the game. There's always something for you to do. If you can't prepare for it, then respond in the moment with the best of what you have available. And if you fail to prepare, if you fail to respond and you get completely emotionally reactive, you're not out of the game yet. You can still recover. You can still rebound. Becoming a man of integrity only ends when you quit. When you say, you know what? It's not even worth the recovery step. I'm just going to give up on that commitment altogether. I'm not going to call that person who's waiting for me at that meeting. I'm just going to bail. I'm not going to recover and humble myself with my partner here. I'm just going to wait for the storm to pass. Being a man of integrity is hard. Not easy. It's not easy to walk this path, but nobody ever said it would be. And if it's not easy, at least we can make it simple, and we can break it down into 3 simple steps. Prepare, respond, recover. And I guarantee you that there's no situation or circumstance in life that this process won't work for you. So give it a shot. If you're committed to being a man of honor, to living your life in integrity, to the best of your ability with impeccability, then remember this 3-step process. Implement it in your life. Share it with another man who you know is having a hard time being that man that he wants to be. Share it up with your community, guys, because this is, I know this is landing. I can already anticipate there's going to be a lot of feedback from this one. So send it. Let me hear about it. Share it in the comments below this video. Share this episode up with people in your community so that we can all raise the bar for who we know we can be. And if you're digging this episode and you're feeling what we're throwing down here on the podcast, then make sure you subscribe and follow us. If you're listening to us on iTunes, and especially if you're watching us here on our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button and share it up with your community so we can have more honorable men in this world. Until next week, peace out, fam.